This documentary series showcases the work of the Coalition Youth Collective in Maplewood and South Orange, New Jersey, as they interview local artists who share their talents and their experiences during the pandemic and recurring racial injustices. We hope that viewers gain insight on how art keeps us whole as individuals and as a community.
I'm Madison McGehee. As a musician, I've always been very creative. I used to play a lot of classical stuff when I was younger, but then I was like, what if I start doing pop stuff? And I started playing around with chords and learning more about that. And then I started making my own songs too. As a child, I started really young with just dance, but I also started with gymnastics too, so I never really thought about performing. And then I used to live in Massachusetts, so my dad and I went to Boston and we saw Les Mis, and I was like, whoa, I want to do this, I want to perform. And I eventually moved to New Jersey and started taking singing classes, acting classes, and a lot more dance classes, and I was like, well, now I want to do musical theater. In the beginning of my journey, I was like really when I wanted to focus on it, I was 8, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna learn how to do this. I'm gonna better myself as a performer. Started getting into middle school, and then I got signed, and then went on a lot of professional auditions, and then I would also try out for school roles too.
How has the pandemic and being in isolation impacted your artistry?
It's made me more creative. I've been dancing and singing and acting and playing instruments, but it's also helped me write more. I've been writing more scripts, and it's also helped me write more songs too. I think my vision has changed with the writing too, because now I'm thinking, oh, well, when I grow up I can do something more creative too. I could be behind the scenes and behind the camera as well as the person on the camera too. So I guess it's made me more creative, but also miss that feeling of the adrenaline before you go on stage and the orchestra warming up. Yeah, the pandemic has made you comfortable in your own house, comfortable auditioning at home. But when you're out there, the adrenaline is way, it's so much higher. In the industry, there's a big emphasis on type. Sometimes I'll get called in for auditions, sassy personality, and that tends to run with the stereotypical black girl. There's a lot of musicals that have to do with race, like Hairspray and Ragtime. So there's certain songs that are appropriate to sing and certain songs that aren't appropriate to sing. Also with shows and casting, you can't have an all-white cast or an all-black cast. So it's definitely affected performing.
Sit down.
Look, doctor, Alan is a patient to you, one out of many. He's my son. I lie there awake at night. Frank lies there beside me. Neither of us sleeps at night. You come to us and say...
When we're getting ready in the dressing room sometimes, there's a big emphasis on how are you gonna do your hair, how are you gonna do your makeup and stuff. I remember I was doing The Lion King at this place, and I had braids in, and this one girl went up to me and was like, oh, you have to unbraid your braids because we're gonna put in 2 little puffs in our hair, like to be like the lions. And I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, unbraid my braids. I don't know, but it's definitely really common in the industry to like be faced with microaggressions that you're thought like, did I just hear that? So yeah. I don't really feel a lot of pressure, but I'm aware of it. So I'll be aware like, oh, maybe I didn't get that because they're looking for like the ingenue type. I noticed that a lot of the ingenue types like happen to be white girls in the business. But now that's starting to change, and I'm really excited for it. Just be true to yourself. You're selling yourself out there, but also don't let outside people like directors like try to change you.
Was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. Love performing night, that runaway's eyes may wink. And Romeo, leap to these arms untalked of and unseen. Come, civil knight, thou sober-suited matron all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match. Come, knight.
My goal as an artist and a musician, it's to like share my art with people, but it's also to use my art to fulfill myself. I feel like it gives me a purpose and my why as well.